Okay. Yeah, he wanted to know about the tremolo.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. It's Johnny Beane, 6:35 p.m. July. It's July already. Look at that. July 2nd, 2018. And I'm joined today with a couple Davids. Two Davids, in fact. And maybe a Jay. We're waiting to see what happens. David Nesdahl.
Yeah.
Wow, dang. Look how many people are in already. Guys, I had no idea. And David Allen Wright.
Hello.
What's up, man? Good to see you again. We had a great time the other night. A lot of people were digging the other night, man.
Okay. It was late.
Yeah, it was late. It was late, but everybody, the reaction's been great, you know.
I think when I got home, it's 4:45 a.m. It's like, dang, I didn't realize what time it was, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. How's the video, everybody? Are we okay?
Yeah, it looks good.
Let me know. Well, it'll look good for us. That's the problem. It'll look good for us, but for everybody else, it'll look weird. So in the chat room, let me know if everything's okay. And we'll keep going. I think it's okay. I think it looks. I'm watching it from a signed app browser, and I think. All right, thank you, Jay. And Jay, if you're going to jump in, you should have the link. So, man, what's first of all, David Nesdahl, what's new with you? Haven't seen you for a couple.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a crazy week. My father was here all week last week. Larry Mitchell was here for a while last week, and then Saturday went to Pete's house for Pete Caruch for a barbecue with Craig Stofko, Guitarwannabee, Rob Johnson, and a bunch of people, just a bunch of people. Bill Kelly from Van Hagar. Actually, the whole Van Hagar band was there, which was very cool. Very cool to see everyone.
You had a great time?
Yeah, it was about 20 people there. It was great. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot of food. It was super hot out, and it was just great. A lot of food, a lot of alcohol. It was pretty epic.
Wow! So you woke up the next day, like in the backyard?
No.
Like
I didn't have anything to drink, alcohol wise.
Well, I didn't mean that. I just meant in general.
No. I got home the same night. I got home Saturday. It was a long party though. We got there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think we got home at like 10 or 11.
That's not very long, man. That's 10 or 11 the next morning.
Okay,
yeah, because that doesn't sound epic, man. That sounds like a normal.
It's pretty epic when it's 100 degrees out, and it was forget it. It's a lot of alcohol.
A lot of dancing. Huh? I don't know. You guys didn't post nothing on it. You know, there was nothing. I don't know. We were all wondering what was going on. You know?
Oh. Well, tomorrow there'll be a new Guitar Dave because of it.
Oh, goodness. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll give you a sneak peek. It's right behind me.
There's so many of them.
Right there. Right where my thumb is.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of new guitar everybody's this week. I know of at least another person we're going to show off a new guitar at some point. Maybe Friday. Maybe late Friday. We were going to do a comparison between a couple guitars.
what's
I own. Well, I don't want to say yet. I own a certain guitar, and somebody else got a guitar that is very similar, and we're gonna A/B the two guitars because they're supposedly the same thing. So we'll see what happens. It should be good. Should be good. That might be Friday, late show Friday, maybe.
Oh, I know exactly. I know exactly what guitar you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or who you're talking about.
Both.
And it's because of me that person got that guitar, right?
I don't know. They said it wasn't. So.
Really?
I don't know. Who knows? Either way, everybody, you have to tune in. Tune in to find out. So yeah. So what else? I don't know. Not Dave. Since I have two Daves, I'm gonna have to call you by Nesdal and David. Nesdal, do you have any questions for David about Summer NAMM? Or are you just burned out?
No, I'm not burned out. I mean, I know he you know, Dave, you saw, I guess you saw of course you saw the 78s and stuff. And I mean, what's your take on that? I know that you spoke about it yesterday or whenever it was, day before or whatever. But
Well,
I don't know,
it's,
what's your take?
well, at first, I was at work during Thursday afternoon or Thursday most of the day, and then I got over to the NAMM show around 2 o'clock. I actually had to wear a 3-piece suit because I was actually meeting different people. So when I got there, I couldn't find the EVH booth at first. So what happened was I found the Fender booth. You know, it's a big, huge, massive booth, and I saw the Jimi Hendrix Voodoo Child guitar. That was actually really cool. To see that, and I took some pictures of that, and I was asking the guys, like, where's the EVH booth in the Jackson booth and everything, and they said, oh, it's on the outside of the hallway, you know, in the middle of, which is a great idea. They put it in a great location because they were getting a lot of traffic, and they caught all the traffic from the outside. So when I walked into the booth, I saw the EVH merchandise off to the side, and, you know, the license plates. You guys may have seen some of the pictures, like the license plate. They got a new metal sign, you know, the dealer sign that you have behind you.
Yeah.
I've got like 4 of those things over the last couple of years, but the thing of it is they're making a metal one now. They're going to make it, I think it's like, I got a picture of it, it's like $35 or something. And then they've got a lot of new merchandise coming out later this fall. And I saw the white and black Wolfgang, you know, from the, you know, just like the you know, eruption models. And then I went around the corner, and there they were, all 3 of them. And it was really impressive. They had it roped off where you could not touch. You know, you have to put a camera up, and you have to get really, really close. You know, you have to stretch your arm out, and then you could get, you know, maybe 2 foot away, maybe something like that, or 1.5 foot or so. And it's really impressive. I like the work that they did. I still have a take on some of the things why that they will never make it 100% fully accurate. Not any guitar will ever be built 100% accurate. I mean, I'm talking about down to every little tiny mimic scratch. I think there's another reason because of that, but you can get about 95, 98%.
What's the reason? What's the reason you think?
I think it's a legal perspective. You got to understand, Eddie will never let anybody have. You want to make sure that Eddie's guitars, the ones that he has now, are so authentic. I don't think he ever will want any company to ever make them 100%, because that takes away the value of his stuff he has now. You got to, you know, it's like if you had a design that you come up with, you know, you can sell that design as a copyright and a registered trademark.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have the black and white. It's not, his guitar is not black and white anymore. It's got red all over it. So I mean, it doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter if the scratches and dents are exactly like, because he doesn't own the original. I mean, the original is different, as you know, it's different than it was.
Yeah. So, well, that's true, but he'll use it now. He'll probably have it in his tour relic systems or his rack cases now. So when he goes play shows, he'll have the original one probably. He probably has. I imagine he has 1 through 3 automatically, but they'll sell the 8, but they probably still have the original prototype or 1A or whatever, or 001 or 000.
Well,
that he signed off on.
He's had a couple of them since at least 2012, because he had one of those in his tour rack in the 2012 tour, and then he gave a black and white one to the Smithsonian.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but that was the EVH one, right?
No.
Oh, that was this black and white one.
That was. Yeah. They didn't call it the 78 at the time, but it's the same guitar.
Yeah, exactly. There's some, characteristic differences. I think the bridge, when they redesigned part of the bridge part of it, and then they got the new strings for it. And then I never did get the final detail on the pickups in that thing. I have a feeling it's the original production pickup. It's not anything, special on the copper. They didn't go back and try to source 1978 copper from somewhere. I don't think they went that far with it, but I like the design of it and everything. It's pretty nice from that. But so 8 people will buy them and they'll use them as collectibles. They're going to use that as an investment.
Well, that makes sense to me. The $25,000 guitar makes plenty of sense to me, because you got a video of Eddie playing it. He signs it. But the one for $8,000, or what is it, 7878? That's the guitar I have a problem with, because that's $7,800 plus tax for a brand spanking new looking guitar that, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. It's not that special. The one for $25,000 is pretty special, but not that one.
It could be a 7,500 oil can and a $300 or $400 guitar. The liquid inside the gold
oil
can. The oil can may be gold or something.
The oil itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, as the 3-in-1 oil ages, it probably gets more. What do you call it?
Viscosity.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna make a post yesterday as a joke saying, I wonder what the molecule difference is between the 1978 viscosity oil that's been setting that many years compared to what it is now. So when you buy the guitar, does it have 78 oil viscosity? I was gonna make a joke on that to see whether anybody caught that or not. But when they put they're gonna put new oil in that oil can, right? They're not gonna use the original oil because it's like syrup probably by now, or worse. Yeah. It's like honey, it comes out like a gel.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually looking at a can of 3-in-1 that I have right over there.
From 78?
No. It's a new can, but they're not like tin cans anymore, right? It's like plastic or something.
PBS or PCV, I guess. Polycarbonated plastic, maybe. But yeah, it's interesting from that perspective. I saw a lot of different things, but I saw the 78. They won Best in Show and stuff. It was hard. I will tell you this. It's been hard since Thursday, man. I've been running 100 miles an hour between work and doing the NAMM shows, and then the NAMM show for the last 3 days because, I go home at night and try to get caught up on work issues. And then Saturday, I finally was able to get free fully, and then went down around 11:30 and stayed till like 4. It shuts down now at 4 on Saturdays. It's 3 days. They do 10 to 6 Thursday, and then 10 to 6 on Friday. And then I actually did some of the banquet stuff Thursday night and Friday night, and meet with different people, and then different groups and stuff. And then Saturday, we had Hall & Oates here in Nashville. They played a concert right next door at a big, huge arena. So that was interesting to see Hall & Oates on concert, So I haven't seen them in a long time, So, we have a we have some diversity. This city has really changed over the last 20 years because not many bands are touring like they used to. You know, back when we were growing up in the early 80s, there was like 3 concerts a week, every week, all year long. You know, you would see all these different bands come through. You would see somebody like Saxon open up for Blue Oyster Cult or somebody, or, you know, all these different bands. And every week you would see another band coming through. But now touring has completely changed in the whole world of music now. And now I was looking the other day, I saw where Def Leppard is playing, and they got another band opening it, and Jason Bonham's group's opening for everything. And it's hard to sell tickets now compared to what it used to be because there's so much competition. It's not just music competition, but entertainment competition. You know, you got everything from Netflix to every type of streaming service out of the world now. And then you're competing with that with regular television. And on top of that, you have movies and then entertainment, you know, on YouTube and everywhere else, like what we have now. You know, when I was growing up, I was just dreaming of having a hard drive that had no moving parts in it, that whenever you put like 10 songs on it, you could be able to jog or something, and it wouldn't skip. You remember the days, you know, we had the Discman, you know, the Sony Discman, and you couldn't really run really well with them. But I'm just saying now, look at it, we have solid state systems now. But that comes into about with cameras. We have mobile technologies now. But now, so that if you saw a band now, everybody's going to be able to stream it and instantly. They're going to be able to you'll be able to see a concert live now. We can only dream of those back in the early 80s. You remember, you know, you had to tell all your friends you got to see Van Halen last night, and then everybody wore the shirts to school the next day. You know, they were the $15 shirts, you remember, you know, $12, $15 for those. The tickets were like $10 to $12. And then you got to tell everybody word of mouth.
I remember one year I was the only one. Okay. I lived in Nebraska, and this is in 91, and Van Halen came to Kansas City. And so my dad drove me. I don't know if I got to skip school that day or whatever, but I went from Lincoln, Nebraska to Bonner Springs, Kansas, and then back the next day. I'm wearing the Van Halen shirt the next day. I'm the only kid in school wearing one. And everybody's like, "Where'd you get that?" You know?
I'm a concert.
And I felt pretty special that I was like one of the only kids in school. And it was a big school, but you're driving across, you know, state lines to go to a concert. I mean, I can't remember how far that drive is now. Maybe someone in the chat knows. From Lincoln, Nebraska to Bonner Springs, Kansas. I don't know. But what was I going to say?
3 days by horse and buggy.
Yeah. But these days, actually, a lot of people do stream live on Periscope, you know, on Twitter. The past couple years, well, like the last Van Halen tour, there was people streaming those concerts every night, so you could watch live every night on Periscope. Did you guys ever catch any of those?
Yeah, well, I didn't get to see like the whole shows, but yeah, people were streaming.
Yeah, like parts of it, and it also depended on where you were in the venue, you know, because the problem was the closer you were, you couldn't get reception. So most of the shows, most of the footage, the live stuff you'd watch, but it's like further back, and they'd be filming like maybe the screen, you know, the screen behind them, you know, on the stage. But yeah, I know what you're saying though, David, Alan Wright, about how a lot of people, it's like, why go to a concert when you can just watch it on YouTube when people are going to be uploading it anyway. And if it's not something that you like, if you don't have to be there, you know?
Yeah.
I think everybody's TV is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they just want to sit in front of that.
To be honest with you, our lifestyles have changed so much because, you know, back when we were growing up, we only had like 3 or 4 channels on the network. You know, I talked about it the other night, and then you didn't have the entertainment sources you have now. You know, because I had a laser disc in 1981. Man, I got to get all these laser discs. I got 2112. I mean, Exit Stage Left from Rush, and I got to listen to that every afternoon and every night, study it. stuff like that. But a laser disc was really big back in those days, and that was like 420 resolution back in those days. Your TVs were still dots across the. It was not like LED. You remember all the little dots and stuff, and then when you had a TV that went out, some of the dots would go out, and it's like,
yes, I tried to connect them.
Yeah, connected dots.
My grandma, we'd be watching TV. My grandma would come up and spray the TV while we're watching it and clean it. And you'd look at it and you would see all those dots all of a sudden for a little while.
It's a strategy game for Atari. You remember Atari back in
Oh, yeah.
2600.
Yeah, exactly. And but we've come a long way in technology now and stuff, and it's there's a lot of great things to it, but there's some downfalls to it to a point because our society's changed so much now that a lot of people don't go to concerts like they used to. 4K TV is going to change everything in 8K TV. There's actually 16K TV. I saw some stuff at the Consumer Electronics Show. Data, and it's really amazing. You have 16K, and it's 4K processors tied together, conjunction, and they're actually feeding the like how you see the big huge screens. They're actually using 4Ks and microprocessing together down to milliseconds, and it will display. And you have a 16K TV, like a movie theater in your house. But back on the story of music and everything, touring was so much easier back in those days because you could sell arenas. How it works. You would get ready to go on tour, and you would do a package deal, and you would sell that package deal, and then the promoters would come in and buy all the tickets up, all the different shows. And back in those days, you had a lot of shows going on, and they were selling like crazy because, But I still believe a lot of it has to do with the attention span of the younger audience. They have instant media in front of them, so their attention span's maybe 5 to 10 minutes now, compared to what it was like watching a full movie back in the old days. I'm seeing that a lot now. So
less than that. 5 minutes. That's pushing it. Because everything is so quick now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on Facebook. You scroll through your feed on Facebook, and you see something. You watch it for a lot of the stuff you watch with the sound not even on. That's why they put captions on everything now. So there's so many videos I've watched on Facebook, and I have no idea what the audio even sounds like because I just read it.
Yeah. I do that also at work because I may be working on something like I'm building a .NET compiler or something. And I don't want to hear the audio. I just want to see how they're doing the screens, with a programming language or something. So I will fast forward it and, because I'm a visual learner. I actually learn visually. Everybody learns differently. Some people are methodical learners. Photographic. Some people have photographic memories, and it's really helpful because then you'll be able to lock in everything you're doing. But I'm a visual learner versus I can read books all day long. But if I can see something happen in front of me, I can be able to do it instantly. But everybody's brains react differently from learning perspectives, which is good because if we didn't, we'd all be robots in the world. And it's like diversity of music because every music sound would sound the same. There would be no diversity from sides and everything. But
that's what makes music so special.
Yeah,
is everybody? I mean, anybody can play the guitar, really. But when you put your own spin on it and you create your own thing, that's why. Hey, that's why there's only one Eddie Van Halen.
Exactly. And there'll only be one ever. So until you, I was thinking about this the other night, just from a nanotechnology of building wood and stuff, because we can go into that conversation later. But just think about this: if you could be able to get the DNA, and then you could be able to rebuild your Eddie Van Halen. What I'm saying is you clone your Eddie Van Halen. But what I'm saying is you could clone somebody, but how would you ever get the life experiences? You be in Pasadena in a garage woodshedding for 6 hours straight. How would you ever get that from? You see what I mean? Now there is inert ability when you were born. Okay, not to get off topic real quick, but look at Jason Becker, man. Jason Becker, man, you saw those videos of him at AIM, Atlanta Institute of Music, right? And he's over there playing Bach and Paganini, and he's over there playing Bach and C minor seventh, you know. And they asked him a question. He's like, "Well, I don't know. I just play it." You know, he made a comment. You know, how do you know how to play this? He's like, "Well, I just don't know. It just comes to me." So that is the God-given talent that you were born with, that you could never. I don't care if you went to Juilliard for 18 years, you would never get that ever. You know, you would never get that talent. You're just born with it. And then I talked about, I did a Toastmaster speech a while back about how electrical frequencies work with relative pitch and natural pitch. Like people have, you know, you'll hear people say, "Hey, you got perfect pitch." Well, what it is that the input of your brain signals what you hear. So if you hear an A440 note of A, you know exactly what it is because your brain has been fine-tuned for that frequency. That's what perfect pitch is. And then relative pitch is the blend of the A, the C, and the D, or, you know, like 145 or 14 or 147 or 157 in the notes that you would know what an A chord's built off of or a D chord. And then you would hear the, like you strum two chords, you would be able to simulate those two chords connectivity instantly, knowing which chords they were, you know. And then you only thing you have to do then is learn music theory, and then you're pretty much done, you know. But I'm saying there's some people have that inert talent born with them, but anybody can get perfect pitch and relative pitch. You just have to work on it. You know, the David L. Burgess things back in the 80s, you remember those? In the 90s, you remember those recordings back in the day?
Was it an infomercial or something?
No, you remember the guitar magazines back in the day? It was a David L. Burgess.
Oh, the guy with the perm. The guy playing the Strat, making the face. He was trying to look like Eddie, and he had the curly hair. Right?
Well, this one is the guy that had the he had the music programs in the magazines, the guitar for the practicing musician. It would say, "Hey, you can when you hit a note, you can be able to hear it, you know, what note it is." It was called the Perfect Pitch Program or something. It was back in the 80s and early 90s.
What was his name?
David L. Burgess. I think it's Burgess. I've got all the tapes at home back years and years ago. They were back it was always in those magazines, you remember? And you mailed off for them, and they came in cassettes. You remember the cassette days? Cassettes. And then it came out on CD years later. But I actually used those because I already had perfect pitch in a way, but I had to fine tune it because, you know, it really does help. What I'm saying is anybody can be able to get fine tuning on their hearing if they want. Like say that if David goes and plucks a string, like the G string, like you hit it, you could be able to simulate the sound and you could be able to practice. I used to practice 2 hours a night hitting like an E string, high E, and just playing it like do 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 do, and then you practice your hearing, and then you would practice all the different notes on the guitar because you have to memorize the first 12 frets of the guitar, and then it repeats automatically.
That's pretty good, Dave. You actually hit the E.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and then what it is I'll tell you what I used to do too, and I know this sounds. I thought everybody used to do this. I used to have you have the strobe tuners, and I used to sing into notes. You know, this is how most singers work on their vocals. They'll use a chromatic singer. Chromatic tuners are okay, but they're not fast enough. They're not fast logic. So, you know, you have the spinning wheel running, and what you do is you sing into that, and then what you're doing is you're fine-tuning your vocals. So you know what note it is, E, F, F sharp, not, you know, because the sharps were giving me problems when I was younger until I could figure out how to simulate the sound so that my hearing, because what you're doing is you're fine-tuning your hearing is what you're really doing, you know. I'm just saying that from that part. Okay, so let's go back to the Eddie deal. You know, Eddie was born really young. I mean, he had this hearing, him and Alex had hearing like this, so that whenever they play piano, their hearing was really fine-tuned from piano. Because, you know, you read articles about Eddie, he never learned how to read sheet music. You remember? He's like, oh, I just memorized the parts. And when I did recitals, I would just go play note for note. And, you know, he would practice over and over and over and over. So he would go to the recitals and he would just keep playing the same, you know, different parts. He memorized like 12 parts or 15 parts, and he'd play them completely accurate, 100% accurate, he would beat out everybody. And then, because I always thought Eddie learned, you how to read music, really well. And then, but he may have over the years, but I'm saying when he was young, he said that he just memorized the parts his mother would teach him. It's interesting because that builds up your hearing. So think about that. Like if you work on a part for like 6 months, over and over for 4 to 5 hours a night, you're going to get really well at your hearing, because then you I used to put a blindfold on and play for like 2 hours a night for like, for 5 or 6 years. I would put a blindfold on and have a guitar in front of me, and I would sit there and play. And because you got to think like you're off stage or somewhere, or you're on stage and it's dark. You got to know where you're at on the neck or a piano or whatever. You got to know what chords you're at. So it really helps in your hearing and your ability to, if you hear something on the radio, you'll be able to instantly pretty much play it. That goes into play later. But I didn't mean to get off that topic, off of the guitar building and stuff. And,
oh no, this is good stuff.
But it's really cool. So that I hear people all the time complain. They say that, hey, I don't have perfect pitch. It's like everybody has perfect pitch. You just got to work on the ability to work on your hearing. Is all it really is. It's like seeing colors. And let's say I'll get there's a term. I didn't ever tell anybody this when I was a kid, because it's hard to explain back in the early, late 70s, early 80s, when I was starting to play music in the early 80s, is when I hear notes, I would actually see colors. A D looks like a blue to me. E is like more of a yellowish color. B is like an orange. A is like a brownish color. Everything looks different from everybody. And what it does, when I hear music, I'm seeing colors a lot of times, like in aspect of like when I want to play it. It's like I already know, like it's F, G, whatever notes are. You have to take it slow. And what I was talking about, those programs that David L. Burgess, Perfect Pitch, I think it's called, they do work. You just have to sit down and work on that program, and it will actually help. You have them all over the internet now. I think they're on a lot of the sites and stuff. You can actually download now pretty much, but you don't see that in the magazines much as you used to, but it does work, I will say. And I don't know if anybody's got any questions first. I'll show you what I've been working on the last 3 hours. I got off work. I was supposed to be on vacation today, but I had to go to work for a couple of hours because there's some issues in Europe and stuff, and some of the stuff in America on the servers. But now I'm on vacation this week. But I'll show you what I've been making on 3D printers this afternoon and tonight and stuff, and then show you the things. But
yeah, and
also get with me sometime soon about the body that you want to get the drill press on. We can get the drill press or something and work on it for you.
That'd be awesome. Can I just mail you this?
Yeah, just mail it to me. Well, you need to, mail it to me and give me a full description, because I'll go right through it, and then we can actually. I'll tell you what we could do if you want. I'll show you Make Nashville a little bit. We can actually do a live video how to do your body, whatever you want to do to it. Because when my CNC comes, I'm going to put cameras all around it. And then I'm going to, when I start cutting stuff, like any kind of body, like say I want to cut a body for me, I'll put a camera on it. I'm going to cut it and show everybody like a live feed. It may be 45 minutes of cutting the body. It takes about 35 to 45 minutes to cut a body, really. You have to flip it over, and then you flip it back and stuff. It's really cool. And then we could probably do a video on the body. And then, or whatever you want to do to it, because there's so many things, and bless you. That's live video for you right there. But
what color did you see with that sound?
Oh man, I see clear.
It was red. It was red. Had a bloody nose.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, it's something, huh?
Thumbnail.
But I'll tell you what, just in a minute, I'll walk around. I'll take the camera with the laptop and I'll walk around and show you the places, stuff, because I think a lot of people will be interested to see what we're doing. And a lot of cities have maker spaces, and it's really cool if you guys can go to some of the maker spaces and check them out, because what I'm actually doing, we're actually teaching classes here at this one, because we do like Arduino's programming, we do Raspberry Pi programming, Fusion 360, that's the CAD design stuff that we've been doing. You'll see some of the machinery we have here, where you can build bodies and stuff like. It's just unlimited. It's like playing music. It's unlimited. You have to decide what your limitations are when you play music. It's not everything's a unrestricted boundary like a universe. How do you want to play music? And we were very fortunate. We were growing up. We got to see a lot of the bands and a lot of musicians. Everything from ABBA to ZZ Top. If you think about it, look at all the bands we got to see when we were young. We were fortunate. And now you see some of the classic, they call them, vintage classic bands, but, we got to see some of them in the heyday. It was really amazing. And I still believe this period of time in the 60s all the way to the late 90s is almost like a renaissance of music, I think they're going to be looking at this for the next 60 to 80 years of what we saw, live, and then it'd been nice to have some better coverage. I still believe there's a lot of Van Halen videos out there or concerts that were recorded back in the 80s that just never got out. Like Noel Monk talked about in his book, there was a lot of home video stuff. And I think that may come out eventually, maybe. It would be fortunate if it did, because you would see a lot of back stuff and back in the 80s, early 80s, all the way to 84, because, that was a huge tour for them. Financially it was bad, but it was a huge tour for us to see it, because they didn't make any money on that tour. Like you talked about in that book.
Oh, wait, what are we talking? What year are we talking about?
The 84 tour,
Well, they made a lot of money. They just spent it all.
Exactly. They spent it all. And when they come home, it's like, they didn't have much, and then especially the 78 tour, I was really surprised after they come back from 78 tour. He talked about there were $2 billion in debt, and it's like, wow, and he's like, we were selling records, but we were spending like crazy, but a lot of it's back end royalties anyway. You have to get all your royalties later. But they exploded after the 78 tour, and it's really, all the way until 84. And then when Warner Brothers, and then when Roth left, it kind of reset everything, from the contract sides, and the royalty rates and everything changed in. Which is good.
I remember hearing about that. I remember reading in a music magazine. I want to say this was around 88 somewhere. I don't know if this is true. I was a kid. I remember seeing this. Something about how they re-signed to Warner Brothers in 88 or something like that.
Well, when Sammy came in, they had to redo the contract anyway, because, David Lee Roth was on the original contract. So they have to redo all that anyway. So that has to be your legal and everything has to go through all that. Because, there's a lot of legal stuff in a record contract. Oh my God, some people will talk about that, but I need to pull up one of mine from like 1988 or 89. I need to pull one of them up and show it to you sometime. It's like 200 pages. Of like, it's that thick, and I had to get a lawyer, and then also you got to understand, you need a entertainment lawyer. Don't just go and find a regular attorney. That's different. In Nashville, there's specialized entertainment lawyers, attorneys. You got to get somebody that knows, because everybody uses complex legal terms, but I'm just saying you need to make sure that that's what happened with CCR. You remember CCR with Clarence Clearwater Revival, and the bass player's father was attorney, and he told the band to sign for it and then sign it, but he was not a entertainment attorney, and they had stipulations in there that only certain lawyers would have ever picked up anyway. And you have to really read his book, John Fogerty's book. He talks about that. It's amazing from that side, because
I've met his is it his son or his nephew? They're from out here. They went to, there's this town I used to live in called El Cerrito. I think they went to school there. I had a friend of mine who actually went to Boy Scouts with Fogerty's, I want to say with his son. And this would have been in the 70s or 80s somewhere. And then, is it his, I've got the guy on Facebook. I got to look him up. I can't remember if it's either his son or his nephew, but he actually works in some of the music scene around here, like Walnut Creek, and he actually ran sound. This band I played in, 10 years ago, we'd go and play these clubs, and it would be him running sound for us, Fogarty.
Wow.
So it was either his son or his nephew. It was one or the other.
Hopefully you guys won't get dizzy. I'm getting ready to switch cameras real quick and show you some stuff that we're doing here. Hopefully it won't get bad.
Sounds like robots.
Yes.
Exactly. Here's some 3D printers that we have here. It's pretty cool. That's this little one we got. And then, what you do is you can CAD your own files, or you get somebody here to help you. We do a lot of, it's a makerspace, so we always help each other and stuff. We get to do, like if you wanted to build something, you come over and then you need some help. This guy, he's building a bowl, like a cooking pan bowl. He's actually CADing it. And I'll show you. Here is the file. It's being processed at the moment. You see that, and it's pretty cool stuff. I mean,
I feel like on a PBS.
Exactly. Yes. This is a PBS channel, and then I'll show you. Here's the Taz printer. I actually printed the little string retainers. I'll show you just in a minute, and then you can see all the printers. We have all kinds of different printers over here. That it has. We have some enclosure printers and stuff, and then and I'll show you some more. It's like, well, kind of dark in here, but here's our area where we have meetings and stuff together with people. And I was actually the classroom. Exactly. And we have here's our classroom. We have projectors and stuff. It's just like a business, really, if you think about it. We can be able to work on stuff. So say that I'm in here working on something like I'm building a tube amp. I'll bring in a tube amp and I'll start building stuff and wiring it up, point-to-point wiring, I'll build like a plexi or something. And I'm in here and I'll actually write up on the board stuff. Here is our electronics lab, and we have oscilloscopes, spectrum analyzers, stuff like that I use at home. But we have electronics room and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then we get together and we do team projects and stuff like that. Sometimes, got to learn how to solder, so we got soldering guns here. And also I'm actually we use some vacuum soldering systems. And here's another 3D printer that we got here. And I'll show you the shop here in a second. But if anybody has any questions, just tell me, because I just want to show you that most cities have these things. And then if you want to build your own Van Halen guitar, there's a possibility you could. One thing that I'm working on right now is a paint booth, to build a paint booth so we can actually paint bodies and stuff. Here is the isolation guitar cabinet I'm actually working on. I'll explain that later. It's I built this thing by hand, and it's got a top on it and all the wood you see on the top. And this is actually, let me show you real quick. This is actually the top to it, right here. And then you'll see I built all this. I cut all the handles out and everything, the jacks and everything. It's got a EL34 2x12 EVH cabinet inside of it on springs, and the wheels are on springs too. So I'm using isolation where I'm taking all the vibrations out of the cabinet versus the wheels, so that when I crank up about 135, 140 decibels, it's actually about 40 decibels. Here's one of our CNC machines here. That's one of them. That's kind of like the one that will be arriving in my house in a few weeks. It's liquid cooled, but this is a 2 horsepower motor. Or maybe a 1.5, but maybe a 2 horsepower motor. And here's the other one we have. This is an X-Carve machine that we have that you can do bodies on and stuff. And the biggest thing really is just programming the machine. Programming the program to cut it with is really good. We got planers, we got sanders, and we got table saws. We got a bandsaw here, and then we actually have drill presses. We have a bandsaws here, and then we got a lathe that just came in a couple weeks ago. So people are going to do lathes and stuff like that. This is the little tiny drill press, but we actually have the bigger drill presses, and we have a metal shop too. I'll show you real quick, but you can pretty much come in here and build anything you want. Let me show you the guitar the guy is building right now. This is like his 4th guitar. And then I started here around September of last year, and he was building guitars, and it's like, oh wow, So me and him kind of hit it off really quick, and here it is. It's a Telecaster neck through that you can see. Then he's got F holes in it, and it's chambered body, and he programmed everything on the CNC machine and built it by hand.
Kind of looks half like a Les Paul too. That bottom.
It does. Yeah. And then he's got this one almost like the guy from. Give me a second, guys. What's the guy's name from the Black Flag song? The band had the song Black Flag back in the day.
King's X.
King's X, yes. The guitar player from King's X has a guitar. That's it. Sorry, I can't remember half the stuff anymore sometimes. But he's building it like that one, and then he's kind of like modeling off of it, but he's putting all his additional features into it. Because when you see a guitar, you want to build things the way that you want to build them. Not just what the artist does. And here's our Bridgeport end mill. We're working on it at the moment. There's a motor issue with it with a belt drive, but they're working on that one for us. And some of the guys are working on that one. And I can't wait to get this one going, because then I could be able to build a lot of the brass parts for the D2H that I'm building right now and fixing. And then we have like a welding shop back here in the back and stuff like that. But it's not non-wood guitar building related, so I'll just kind of skip it. But what I was saying is when I come over at night, I'm actually building things and try to build prototype stuff that nobody's come out with. And then also what I'm doing is I'm setting up a paint shop in the back so we can be able to shoot nitrocellulose. Is a lot of the old bodies from the 60s and 70s were shot with nitrocellulose. Like the old, all the Gibsons are still shot with nitrocellulose versus, the Fender stuff, the old Fender stuff with nitrocellulose. A lot of your old cars, your old classic cars are actually built and painted off of nitrocellulose too. And so I'll go back in. I'll just show you one more thing real quick. I'll show you the Fusion 360 stuff I was actually working on tonight. If you guys see, here is the string retainers I've actually printed out on a 3D CAD file, printed out tonight, so I can make sure I've got them in the proper size before I send them to manufacturing to be done. And these are it right here, and I'll show you the CAD file in a second. And then I'm building some more things tonight, some neck plates and stuff. But some of the stuff, I designed everything off of Fusion 360, and this is like the CAD file for the string retainer. And then I'm actually doing this. And remember, you see these guys that these washers that the eye hooks with the washers, and they had a hole in them for some of like the old Frankenstrat had the hole set so that this would not turn in concert, because when he would screw it in, it would move around on him. So they drilled a hole for the insert, and that's what this one is. And it's actually a one-piece part that I'm getting ready to make soon. After I 3D print it and make sure it's the right size increments, I will send it to manufacturing and get them to make it for me and create it. But you can see it right here for that part. And then I'm actually working on the neck plates right here. 1 second. Yeah, here we go. And I'm actually going to print this out tonight because I'm only going 20,000 millimeters on the plate, how thick it is. You can see how thick it is here. I'm only going 20 thousandths tonight to print it to make sure all the Kramer stuff is all created correctly. And then I've got some with different numbers on them and stuff like that. But,
oh my God.
So they come out like.
Did a helicopter start up?
That is the air compressor in the back. It sounds like a helicopter, didn't it? So it's so that's some of the stuff.
He's
I've been
building one of those too.
Brilliant. Yes, he's using a lathe to build a helicopter.
Exactly. And,
Wow.
Johnny, did you know that a lathe is the only machine that can reproduce itself?
Yep.
No.
Mm-hmm. And then here's a Telecaster I'm working on. I've been playing around with some Fusion 360. I'll tell you what I'm working on very soon. I'm going to, maybe over the weekend, I'm going to actually use this body and take everything out of it. I'm going to make the Ripley. I'm going to make the Steve Ripley Telecaster with all the holes back here and then the plates, and then I'm going to flip it over and do all the channeling in the back. And so I'm doing that right now too. I don't know if it's hard to see, maybe. It's all about lighting and this stuff, so it's hard to see sometimes. And then I'm working on the 5150s here. Like I've been playing around with bodies and stuff like that for a long time, and then the striping programs and getting all the striping positioning correct. So like I said the other night, I don't have the patience anymore when I paint something to make sure that I'm 0.2 thousandths millimeters off in one little increment stripe. I mean, some people do, but I just don't have the time anymore like I used to think about how precise some of the stuff is. Other people can, because it's hard to focus on 2 or 3 projects or 2 or 3 things simultaneously, and then some people are really good experts, and it's better just to let them do that for you than trying to do it yourself. So now I'm in the window spinning process of something loading. Shows you how the world is in computer systems, especially when you want to do a WebEx or a Skype call. You know how things work. Nothing works accurately when you do a demo. You get the demo jinx. But I'll switch back on it. I just want to kind of show you that tonight, and then some of the stuff I've been working on, because everybody keeps asking me all the time, hey, when are you going to make the new neck plates? When are you going to make this? When are you going to, it's like, well, guys, you got to understand, when you build something, you can't just, it's a process involved in it, and it goes to like what, Fender does when they build that white and black guitar. There's a major process they have to go through, and the story was that I heard at NAMM Thursday is they found some pictures last year, a little over a year ago, from Eddie's mother that she took back when he was getting ready to go on tour, and they found them, and they claimed that that's where they started all the 5150. The eruption guitar came from. They went through these pictures, and they decided they want to mimic that full guitar before it was ever painted red. And that's what the Fender reps were telling me Thursday. Because I asked them, where did you get all this technical data from? And they were saying that they found a huge picture collection. It was in storage for many years, and they found them and started using those as reference, for that part.
Mm-hmm. So it was like pictures of, I guess, pictures like before the guitar was even painted, right?
Yeah. They claim that just pictures, because his mother used to photograph some, but I don't know what kind of camera they used probably back in the day, because you gotta understand, 1977, 1978, there was only like 2, maybe 3 camera manufacturers in the world at the time: Polaroid, Kodak, and let me think who else. Yeah, like a click, back in those days. I got to think 1977, 78, how would you get your film process? You remember those little tiny little huts? You remember Back to the Future? Had a little hut. Mm-hmm. Back in those days. Now you don't see any of that stuff anymore. It's like a telephone booth. You never see a telephone booth anymore, do you? You just don't.
Actually,
because nobody uses it.
There's one around here. There's no phone.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's no phone in it, but there's a booth still there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's maybe a Superman changes.
It says we're Superman. Yeah.
But it's you can see him changing though.
Well, I told him never to change. Don't ever change, Superman. Don't change.
Exactly. And
but those pictures though, those pictures that you said they found, those are included, I believe, in that book that comes with the guitar.
It does.
Right.
Now. That's what I was told. If you buy the 8 of it, if somebody on this
Super 78
video buys the one of the 8 guitars, has a fortunate way of buying it, then they're going to have the whole collection. And eventually, it'll take some years probably. You remember the red one, the Frankenstrat came out, but they made 300 of them, right? If I remember right, I forgot, but it took a couple of years for really all the pictures to come out, high resolution, pictures to come out for that. And then, everybody was critiquing the specs on it, because like the crown heads, if you really wanted to get the crown heads, you would have to go and get them completely manufactured. But if any manufacturer would want probably 10,000 order, or at least a 5,000 order, for those to be made. So if Fender wanted to make those, they would have to retool and do that, and you're looking at, say, $300,000 to do that. Is it worth $300,000 to make the crown heads? but then you would probably use them across all the boards across it, or you would have to, because they still make them to a point.
Well, I got news for you,
I
Dave.
wonder.
Charvel does use those crown heads on their on a lot of their guitars, on a lot of the custom shop guitars. They use gold crown heads on those things.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
The Randy Rhoads guitars, those are gold crown heads, and on the man, what are they called? The San Dimas Pre-Pros. The Pre-Pros have those on them too. So they are getting them from somewhere. They are being made. I think it's just made for Charvel though, which boggles my mind because they should have been put on the Frankensteins because Charvel's been using them since then.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand why it wasn't done.
It could have been a legal deal, but you got to understand Fender. Well, hold on a minute. Let's think for a minute. When was that built? That was built in
2007.
2007. That's over 10 years ago. So let me think for a minute. I wonder if Charvel was a sub-entity of Fender, but not enveloped into the company.
Yeah. They were all under FMIC.
Okay. If it was, then they should be able to grab that source. Say that they're made in Japan. They would source like 300 sets of them. But that wouldn't be that hard if they're still making them. You say what? Because they have the molds, so that all they have to do is just create the molds for that. There must be something else involved in that part, or Eddie never wanted those on the guitar. He maybe.
Well, that's probably it right there. Eddie probably didn't want them on the reissue, on the
exactly.
Thing. Yeah.
Okay. So I did get a question somebody sent on my phone. They asked Luke J. It's like, hang on one second. I got to get my phone back to display. It says, have a question for you about the Eruption 78.9 Relic. Are these master built by Chip Ellis also? The only ones that Chip builds is the 8 Relic, 78 Super Relics, and he paints and stripes the 12,000. What is it called? What's the 12,000 model? The 78.
The 78 Relic.
Yeah, selling it 78 Relic. He paints them, but he doesn't assemble them. They assemble those in California, and then the 78 is, I think, just made, painted, and then assembled in California because they're a U.S. assembly, and I think they're still all made in California. I believe they didn't specify differences if the bodies were made in Ensenada, Mexico, because that's where they make all their Mexico. That's where all the amps are made. That's where all the Mexico Strats are made, and the Wolfgang Mexico versions are made in Ensenada, Mexico. And then, but I wondered, but they never specified if the bodies were made in Mexico, because if they did, they would have to stipulate that, legally they would. But it sounds like they were all made in California, but Chip only makes the 8 by hand, and then he paints and stripes the other ones. Mm-hmm. That's what I was told by Fender Thursday afternoon. And there may be some more questions. I'll have to go back and look real quick to see. But also, I was going to tell you guys, and I posted it the other day, there's a guy that's actually built the new version of the Steinberg Trans Tremolo. It's called the Tremolo Transmission. It's really ingenious. And I was floored when I saw it, because we sat there and talked for almost an hour and a half on this design, and it uses the cam mechanism, but each string is individually tensioned so that you can modulate each string. And so when you go, it shifts back and forth. It moves this way to this way. And then I'm going to do a conference call. I'm going to do a Skype call with him in about 2 weeks. He's from Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'm going to show, because I took pictures of it, and he's going to send me one, because I'm going to put it on a guitar. I'm going to have to route out the body and put it on and then play around with it, because I was actually playing his demo. He had a little the picture was like a little guitar that was cut out. He used the CNC to cut it out, and he put it on there. And but I was kind of playing it and moving back and forth. It was transposing. It goes to F sharp, and it goes back down to it would go all the way down to D. So it would transpose up and then transpose down. It's really ingenious. It's the new version of the Trance Tremolo, and because I'm actually matter of fact, I'm going to clone the Trance Tremolo because it's out of patent. It's been out of patent for 8 to 10 years. And Gibson still owns the Trance Tremolo art registered name, but they don't own the patent on the manufacturing anymore. You can still have a copyright of a name for like up to 28 years sometimes, like, Coca-Cola or Pepsi or something like that. But when you want to manufacture it, that's where you have to go into legal precedents to figure out if you want to apply for the new trademark, and then you would it would say the trademark holder is here, and then you would mass produce like 2,000 of them or 5,000, and that license would pay back to the person who invented the trademark. But when the trademark is open now, like a lot of stuff, like the PV, remember the PV HP2, that was actually an open trademark last year when they didn't file to extend the patent or trademark, for the body. So PV can make that guitar now proprietary to them for the perspective they have the license, the legal license now to produce it. But they don't call it a PV. They don't call it a Wolfgang. They can't legally, but they can call it a HP2. But that's part of the legal stuff that I had to go through over the years for patents and trademarks and all that stuff. I actually had to work with a patent attorney for the last 3 to 4 years on certain things that I've been working on to make sure that I'm legally covered. Because a patent now costs $17,500 each for each patent now, if you want to go after one. Plus, it takes almost 18 months usually, for 18 to 24 months sometimes now. Sometimes you can get them, like, it depends on what kind of patent, if it's an electrical patent or a utility patent or software patents go faster, because when you have like a software patent, you build something, you can actually put it through in the system and they can validate it in about 6 months, because the time to produce something in software is vital. It's vital. You have to have something to be, to the market. Just like Facebook's API. If you wanted to build something, you have to get a patent on it. You have like 6 months, maybe, or 4 months to 6 months window to get it done before somebody else invents something, So, and most software patents last 7 years in some aspects. So, yeah, no, it's a lot to do that from that perspective. I see Mr. Beane is back now.
Is he here?
I gotta take a nap.
I was just feeding my chickens cat food.
Yeah.
They love them. They love it. Even he was eating them. Everybody loves cat food around here. Except me. Yeah. So what? Is Nesdal falling asleep on you?
No.
He may be.
Oh. Well, look, he's yawning.
One thing that
What?
It's almost 11 o'clock here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know we can wind it down and start again another time. What have we done here? Like an hour?
He just built a guitar while you were gone.
Uh-huh.
So here's what I'm actually going to work on soon. I'm going to actually work on some injection molding machines. You hear those all the time. I want to get one of those used so I can be able to play with some and polymers for molecules going down to the molecular structure. Like I was talking about nanotechnology the other night for wood, because eventually wood will go away. We won't be able to build guitars in another 100 years just with wood anymore, because the resources are dwindling like crazy. So I think we're going to go to a carbon fiber or a polymer type mechanism where we can be able to go down to the nanotechnology of the molecular structure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole different subject altogether. But yeah.
Did you see that video of that cardboard guitar?
I think so.
Did you ever see that? They took it to Fender. And all the guys at Fender were checking it out.
Made a Strat out of cardboard. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I did meet a guy at NAMM show that he actually used to work on the B-2 bombers, and me and him were talking for like an hour about structural. He's actually building acoustic guitars, and he's actually talking about how he's doing structural basic bracings with his carbon fiber rods, and it's pretty amazing what he was doing. It was like, wow, he made me start thinking about things that you could be able to do with carbon fiber strength and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing that's coming out in the next few years is liquid 3D machines will be liquefied. Like I could be able to make a part in metal eventually. It will turn solid. And that will be really interesting in the next few years. So.
Wow, that's crazy.
You look like you just woke up.
I didn't just woke up.
So,
What?
You didn't just woke up? Huh? Darth Vapor? Is he watching? Hello, everybody. Just to let you guys know. Eduardo. Hey, man. Eduardo's in here. David Byron. Good to see you, man. I've been watching David Byron's stuff on YouTube. Great stuff. Rando's in here. Ben Coombs. Ty Z. Chris Link. Absolute Mayhem.
Did we just start?
No, but we didn't say hi to anybody.
Oh. So. Okay.
Steve Anderson is in here. Look out.
Everybody dance!
Steve, did you see that video today?
Steve.
A video came out today, and I sent it to a few different people. I bet you Nesdal didn't even see it.
What are you talking about?
The 0812 Japanese special. Like you guys know that one clip that shows Zeke showing off the guitars behind the scenes?
Yeah.
That whole thing was released today. That whole show.
Oh, wow.
What do you mean the whole show?
It was a whole show.
Didn't we see that once before?
Not the whole thing, no.
Wait a second. Where is it? There it is. I got it.
Uh-huh. Well, we've lost Nesdal.
Uh-oh.
For at least 16 minutes.
So it's like backstage where they show off all the equipment, like Eddie's gear and his amps and stuff, and it kind of walks through his guitars and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Shut it.
Yeah. I'll send you I'll send you the link to it. It's very cool. It's very
It's
in Japanese. How do you understand?
Here.
Well, no, the whole show's not in Japanese. There were certain little parts of it that were released over the years, but this is the actual full thing. It's a lot of the footage was shot in, I want to say, Portland, Oregon, 0812 tour, and it's very cool to me because it was around Thanksgiving time. I saw them on that tour in November. Now that is a siren.
Yeah, that's the CNC machine firing up. I will tell you, though, think about this for a minute, guys. I never thought in my life LinkedIn would have Zeke Clark in it, the guitar tech. He's on LinkedIn. I'm just telling you, he lives in Hermitage, Tennessee. He lives like 5 miles from my house. And, because he works for Kenny Chesney and stuff. But, you'll see people on LinkedIn you never thought would ever be on LinkedIn, because it's a professional business system, for finding jobs and finding connections with other companies and stuff. But it's amazing sometimes what you'll find on LinkedIn that you may not think that will be on Facebook, because some people cannot be on Facebook from a legal perspective to share proprietary information. You have to be very careful in your jobs. So, but it's pretty nice to see that Zeke Clark's on LinkedIn. So.
So he's still working with bands and stuff?
Yeah, he's with
like
Kenny. Yeah, he does. He's guitar tech for Kenny Chesney. You know,
Mhm.
he does that, and so he's now in Nashville. You know, so a lot of people here now live here. You know, are moving here for the music scene because you know studio rates here in Nashville are a lot cheaper than some other places in the world.
Mhm.
Than certain parts of New York and stuff. But you know, nowadays you don't have to go. That's another subject we talk about later. But you don't have to go to a 48 track or a 64 track or a 128 track studio anymore like you used to, like RCA or Sony or somewhere to record an album. You can actually do it all at home now. You don't have to.
Oh, I know.
Technology. Think about this 25 years ago because studio time was $80
Anybody
an hour.
can.
Yeah. It was
Anybody can make a record, man.
Exactly. It was $80 an hour back in the day at night. Is 125 to 130 during the day at RCA in Nashville. Now you can do it at home. So you know,
I told
it's
you.
amazing.
I told you we lost Nesdal.
No, you didn't.
He's
Well,
watching that on his phone. He's gone.
I'm here. I'm right here.
Here, I'll make it easy for you. I'll show you guys a tiny clip of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you guys on here. I'll show you guys a tiny clip real quick, so you can see. So you don't have to leave yet. Here's a small part of what I was talking about. Right here. This was just released. It's very cool. Cool thing about this is when I saw them in '88, that's the shirt he was wearing. Same shirt.
You know, I imagine.
That's funny.
You know, imagine they would have like 20 shirts, maybe say 15 shirts in the wardrobe in the rack cases, and then they would go to the hotels and you know, because they would have like 2 nights a week off, maybe, or maybe 1 night a week off. You know, when they were touring. So then you would, you know, most of the guys would be either at a bowling alley somewhere or a laundromat. Yeah. So if you want to meet your rock stars, sometimes go to laundromats or bowling alleys. You know, you might find them, or truck stops. You know, it's amazing.
Well, you know, they're people too. So.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You know, they have to wash their clothes. I remember being on tour and having to go to laundromats and stuff and walk around some weird town while your stuff is washing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And nowadays it's opposite. Now you can go to the laundromat at 3 a.m. and watch some kind of Netflix show or something, you know, or you know, you have. What I'm saying is it's flipped now. Your entertainment's instant now. You have entertainment all over the world, web, you know, anything, YouTube, all the different streaming services now, or you just download the stuff to your phone or your computer now, and you just be able to watch it. You know, because I do a lot of technical conferences, and I try to read about 3 books a week. But now I'm doing a lot of audio stuff. Because
3 books a week.
3 books a week usually. I used to read 2. Now I'm actually up to 3. But now what I'm doing is a lot of audio because I don't have time to read as much as I used to. So I do a lot of audio while I'm working. I have headphones on. I'm actually listening to audio books, like technical books or whatever. I've been trying to find some. You know,
is that considered
books.
Reading though? If you listen to it,
well, you're comprehending, right? well, you hope you are.
Nice.
guys. You know, I listen to, you know, 4 books a day.
I'm gonna call it that from now on. I'm not reading. I'm comprehending.
Yeah, exactly, you're comprehending.
Did you comprehend those instructions, Dave?
Yeah.
He comprehends the back of the cereal box every morning.
Okay. Oh, that's another one. Do they still put the missing kids on the back of the milk cartons anymore? You know, like when we were young. You know,
I don't think so. No.
You know, stolen 5150 guitar on the back of a milk carton. You know, wanted.
Oh, my goodness.
Gonna be comprehending a knuckle sandwich in a minute, Johnny.
Yeah.
Hey, Clayton. Good to see you, man. Good to see everybody.
I guess nobody else joined in, did they? On the video.
Oh, Jay? Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jay.
He's in Myrtle Beach, California, correct?
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach, not California, Carolina.
I mean, Carolina. Yeah,
South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina. Exactly.
South Carolina.
He's down there next to Joe Duffy. I mean Jim.
James
not
Duffy.
Joe.
James.
Yeah, James Duffy. Not Joe Duffy. That's the dang country music singer back in the day. Sorry.
That's
But
he might be there too.
yeah,
Joe
maybe.
Duffy. Joe Duffy.
Yeah. But, yeah, I didn't know where he was located, and I wanted to make sure. So cool.
Yeah. So what? Are you guys good
Yep.
for right now?
Gotta go.
Yeah.
For right now? Okay.
Yeah, it's late.
Cool.
It's 10
Cool.
minutes to 11 here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's 10 to 8 out here. So cool. Well, Nesdal, I'll see you tomorrow. You've got a new guitar, Dave.
We'll do a green guitar Dave. With a new guitar. New.
Mm-hmm. You can tell us more about your party this last weekend.
Oh, it was off the hook.
Yeah, because we're excited. To Beane, man. I've been wearing your shirt every Wednesday. Mm-hmm.
Right on. Maybe I'll wear mine. Maybe I'll wear my. Yeah, maybe.
You should.
We'll see if it fits.
It's
It
awesome.
should fit.
Have you worn it yet?
Yeah, I wore it once. Mm-hmm. It fit the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it'll fit after being in the wash.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Did you know I did a 10-mile hike yesterday?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're insane.
It was hurting. It was where you get together with just strangers. You know, it's like a group. You know, it has there's running groups and hiking groups, and you meet and you get together and you just hike or run or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Was it parallel or horizontal up when you hike?
It was
series.
It was both.
Series, not parallel.
Oh yeah. No. Hey, I did want to ask, what's the altitude out there from sea level where you're at? I mean, is it pretty high up?
I don't know.
When you go to Denver, Colorado, and you start hiking, you have to wait to 2 days to adjust because you'll get altitude sickness instantly if you start hiking. You have to adjust for the oxygen. So you can't just fly to Denver and start hiking automatically. You have to take almost 2 days to adjust.
I mean, wouldn't I be at sea level if the ocean is like 5 minutes from me?
Yeah. Well, to a point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at sea level.
Okay.
So I'm probably you're probably like way up there. You're probably up there compared to me then, right?
I'm only 500 feet off of sea level here in Nashville area, so it's not much. But I'm just saying, because when you start hiking, it's your altitude where you're located for the oxygen. Just like when you start climbing Everest. It takes 2 weeks to climb Everest. You can't just start hiking at the bottom. You have to go in stages. It's pretty interesting. And but I just wondered, when you started hiking, what the base altitude was, and then you would start working your way up, because it's really interesting.
Oh, I see. But yeah, it wasn't just going up. We went like way down though too. And this is in the forest. This is in the forest.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So you're going like way down. I mean, I posted a bunch of pictures in the Discord.
While you're looking, A64 T-Bird has a great question. It says, Dave, can you give us your opinion on modern cases versus vintage cases? Would you source out vintage cases? I feel that newer cases are much better constructed and safer for guitars. Yes, I agree with you. New cases are absolutely safer and more padded and bigger, and they protect guitars much better than vintage cases do. And they're cheaper. because a case for, say, a 1959 Les Paul is about $5,000 to $6,000.
If you can find one.
You can find a 4-latch case. 5-latch case is even more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's an interesting company concept, recreating a vintage case, but with new technology, so it's stronger, but it's vintage looking,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's a market demand for that.
Well, G&G does it. G&G does it. They already do it. So
yeah.
But I don't know. A case is a case is a case.
Yeah, true.
Well,
I use gig bags. I use gig bags for all my guitars, but the gig bags that I use are like a $500 leather gig bag, So it's not like putting it in a
paper bag.
Yeah, it's not. No, it's not like that. You drop your guitar in one of my gig bags, it's not even gonna feel it.
Oh, that did bring up a question at NAMM, because I found a company that does custom bubble wrap. They actually make the custom bubble wrap. So say that you're going to start shipping a whole bunch of the 5150 Banana headstocks. You take one of the necks and send it to them, and they'll make the custom mold to have that. So you can have the body and the neck, because this is what I'm working with them on right now. It costs about $200 to make the custom mold, and then after that you order 50 of them. So if you're going to ship that guitar around the world, it actually is air wrapped around it. It's really interesting. So you don't have another FedEx broken headstock.
Yeah, you mean you.
And, exactly. And
did you ever get that fixed yet? Is that repaired yet?
It was repaired by James. He repaired it, but I can't. I'm buying a brand new neck for it. I'm just going ahead and start a new Music Craft neck for it. Or I think I may have already ordered it already. I've got like 9 builds going at once, and I can't I have to have a spreadsheet to keep up with all the stuff I'm doing anymore. That's how bad it is. It's like an Excel spreadsheet, and it's like columns of guitars and then pictures. And what I do is I put each guitar, and I've got a serial number. Then I got a box over here. It's got the picture in it. And then it's like guitar 2, and then it's this description, and then it's a box of the picture, and then it's got the serial number and everything. So I have to do that for insurance reasons, because my homeowner's insurance is massive, because I had to put everything in gun safes, so fireproof and stuff. And
we remember we were sitting there.
Yeah, all the cases. Yeah, at home, you got cases, and I got more now, and it's like, oh my God, you start looking, it's like, oh Lord, I'm scared to even look at some of the stuff, that I still have in cases and stuff. But yeah, you always have to be protective on that from a perspective of a fire or theft, because you have to prove you own the item, and then your insurance will want proof of ownership, and then proof of cost, because some of the stuff is so valuable, it's hard to replace, and that's the sad part. You have to be very careful on that. Mm-hmm. So I keep I've got like 8 gun safes, the big huge ones, the big huge cannons, and they've got like 8 guitars in each one, or 10 guitars, and I've got humidifiers in it with wireless transmitters, and it checks them, and I get a report on my computer every hour or 2 hours. It will show me a moisture content and stuff.
Oh my goodness!
I'll show you that one of these days. I wrote a program for that. It's pretty cool. So you can see, and it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Hey, listen, guys, I got to split.
Okay.
I got to split, but it was great hanging with you, Dave. Happy birthday.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
And I'll see you guys. Will you be with us tomorrow night?
I'm going to the mountains. I'll be online later tomorrow night, maybe at 8 o'clock. I got to get in a car and drive to East Tennessee. I'm getting out of Nashville. I'm getting lost. And my alarm system's set on my house. So
enjoy. Well, I don't know where you live anyway.
The response time is 5 minutes. So
there's really only one guitar you have that I really, really want anyway. Maybe 2 guitars. Maybe
the Steinberg.
The Steinberger and the blue Ripley.
Yeah, the Ripley's amazing. I'm actually trying to find another blue one, There's one out there that I was looking at. It's beautiful. And then the GLT2s, man, phew, I'm recreating the Steinberg trench trim. I did look. Oh, I will tell you this. I still look for Ned Steinberger because, man, he's one of my heroes in life. Furniture maker that got into building bass guitars, and then look what he did with electric guitars. You know, everybody told him back in 1978, 79 he would never make it. Nobody's going to play one of those guitars or basses then, and look what it came to. It's come so valuable. Those things are $8,000 to $10,000 now if you see them anywhere. There's one right now on eBay for $7,800.
I can't think of it.
I know, and hopefully it's and those had stainless steel frets in them back in the day. You got to understand, he built stuff with stainless steel frets then.
You hear that, Jay?
Yep.
Jay,
listen to that, man. Watch. Dave's gonna sell all his guitars, and you'll see one guitar in the back. It's gonna be a headless, and it's gonna fall through the.
No,
because there's no head to hold it up there.
No,
it'll be upside down.
And the last thing I'll tell you is the faceplate, man, took me 2.5 years to source, and then finally Jeff Babbitt's got it for me. He actually made it for me. Because I was talking about doing injection molding myself and catting the file and building it and everything, and I was talking to Jeff Babbitts about it. And he finally said, look, David, I'll have it built for you. Just wait 4 weeks. And then they did it for me and then signed it and everything. And it's really cool. Some details behind it.
Awesome.
So there's some signatures underneath it. That's all I can say. But it's pretty neat.
I know which ones, and I'm not saying a thing.
Yep, exactly. But I've got pictures, but I'm not legally, I cannot. You know how it is. I cannot legally show that because I can actually get sued because that's friendship.
Well, they're in the safe.
Exactly.
They're in the safe. That's in the safe. That's in the safe.
Yeah, they're all safe. I gotta go.
All right, sounds good, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.
They're all safes.
Everyone in the chat, have a great night. Johnny, Dave.
I want to show you my picture real quick, man. This is me hiking. I took this picture hiking. There it is. I kind of photoshopped some stuff in there, but
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not in there.
Here.
Oh, he's gonna put me in there.
Here we go. Here's. Is this you?
No.
Is that you? Oh wait. Oh, there you are. Here's Dave Nesdall. There he is. I photoshopped some little gnomes into the picture. It's a really nice picture. I mean, it's there it is. Anyway, that's a picture I took yesterday. And all right, so I think we're good.
Yep.
Okay, Dave Nesdall. See you tomorrow for New Guitar Dave.
Yes, you got it.
And David Allen Wright. Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. And don't hang up just yet.
Sure.
But we'll see you again real soon. And everybody, J.C. Smith, David Byron, Lil David Ennis, Mark Taylor, A64 T-Bird, Absolute Mayhem, Ben Coombs, all you guys. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Tuning in. Tuning in one. Ty Z. Yeah, jump over to the Discord, you guys. Discord. Yeah, if you want in, text the phone number down below, and I'll let you in. Unless your name is David Nesdall.
Because he's going to sleep.
Yeah, he's going to bed. All right, see you guys tomorrow, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. New Guitar Dave, JohnnyBeane.tv, Howie the Dalmatian on Instagram. Good night.
Yeah.